have siesta, but sometimes we work with the Spanish and it comes here too. But it was really inspiring for me. All the words came from the gentleman today and started with Captain Abdel Karim about the questions, because this is where the things started. What are the questions we need to answer and why? And I was listening to to Mr. Sanjay, and perfect comments about decarbonized fossil fuel. In DSV, actually, we committed at global level, being the third biggest forwarder in the world, with the clear sustainability goals. And those sustainability goals had been spread around 100 countries where we are operating with 75,000 employees, with a lot of equipments and containers and volumes moved all over the world. And we want to translate those into simple actions that we can do at country level, looking at the environmental sustainability score, looking at the sustainability national value, looking at the sustainability indexes to be able to measure what we are doing and look for what we are missing. In Abu Dhabi, which is one of the countries where DSV operating, we come up with a plan that has a baby steps. And we encourage all the companies, everyone operate, even at personal level, to start taking baby steps into protecting our environment as well our families. One of the major things that DSV is doing is investing in R&D and a lot of initiatives at the global level. So recently they announced a charge of $2.5 per shipment. That it goes to R&D and sustainability initiatives. And that goes at globally to raise fund to help all of us to change something really in logistics. However, we collaborating with a lot of startups, carriers of any size, to start think on immediate thing can you do today to reduce our emissions, to look at all over the sustainability as one subject. So we are looking how to optimize our containers route, working with the container shipping line, how to have the containers travel less, how we can optimize the load inside the containers. But the most important, how you measure it, how you find the right tool to report your improvements. How to optimize our loads in airplanes, where they consume a lot of fuel. Now, when it looks to air and sea, or the air freight were much advanced on the transformation. But the vessels, it's very expensive cost, very long time to build them. They were quite left behind of a lot of technologies. So we give also a lot of focus into that area. But the air freight, if you optimize your weight and volume ratio, you will be able to cut a lot of emissions per kg transported. And that went into systems that can help you how to back your LDUs, how to store them, how to load them. But also the biofuel when it comes to vessels. And how many new built vessels of, let me call it the biofuel notation or ready. There is a notation called biofuel ready. How many vessels newly built with this technology and how big they are? When we look at the transportation sector, we started in the last year a lot of testing in Abu Dhabi at our weather. How we can run our fleet electrical. We know today in the Middle East the temperature, the humidity, and the short range of the electrical trucks, the low weight, as well the time needed for charge. So we work with our technological partners to come up with the first truck, which is last week had been implemented fully commercially in Abu Dhabi. That goes for 85-ton GCW for 2 tails with long range. And the fantastic part, if you charge it traditionally, you will charge it in an hour. But with the technological part, it will be charged through battery swapping in 7 minutes. That means it's faster than the time you will need to fill it with diesel. Now, as Matthew said, he's right. There is a lot of capex into this. There is a huge capital investment into the equipment themselves, into the software and AI, because in this technology, you need to optimize route. You cannot just run the truck. We will be connected through AI with the client, with the driving condition in the road, with the temperature, with the traffic, to be able to optimize the time we drive and how we drive and the kilometer we travel to achieve a certain delivery. But the difference here, you are moving 40 EUs with 85 tons, fully electrical. And that's a lot of R&D happened here in Abu Dhabi and successfully implemented. And that's part of our commitment to transfer totally from fossil fuel into electrical and EV trucks. At the same time, there is, again, I'm referring Matthew operating ports, and we know each other for a long time and know how it's painful. There is infrastructure requirements to be able to develop the power supply to charge those trucks. You know how many points you could have 3 or 4 megawatt of charging. Now, the opportunity in Abu Dhabi, in UAE, that our government works with a lot of development in the renewable energy, as well in the decarbonized fossil fuel and the nuclear, where we'll have ability to develop the infrastructure down the road in the next 5-6 years, where the demand of the power will be becoming more and more. So our solution also obliged us to be part of that. So we are installing on all our rooftops in the warehouses solar panel, where we're gonna give the grid and knit it with the grid. But in the same time, our swapping system, which will spread on a charging network, will allow us to benefit from little bit smaller power, but it's spread across the country. So we will be able to swap and charge and move fast. When it comes to sea, we went to companies that they have sustainability-alike minds. When we're saying ships goes with biofuel or biofuel-ready notation, we are talking about normal-sized ships. What about heavy lifters? 1,500 ton lifting capacity. When it comes to 13,000 dead weight, with the biggest ever of its size, whole capacity, with fully 100% electrical operated crane in the port, what that will impact our business and our emissions generated out of each transported metric ton. We work with close collaboration with Harini Group, who have their own engineering and their own creation. Those are the first heavy lifters, and it's the biggest of its kind within their company, and it's 30% higher efficiency of its kind. The biofuel-ready notation is coming more and more in the market, because it's maybe at the time being, it's quite difficult to have a fully electrical vessel. But what about fully electrical tools? So when it comes maybe tomorrow to one of the gentleman ports here, or to Abu Dhabi ports, or Dubai ports, you need high capacity connection cable to the vessel, then you can operate everything on that vessel fully electrical without using engine. What about the technology to recuperate from the weights on the vessel and regenerate power to optimize even the intake you need from the connections? Why are we doing that? Because we are part of the global scoring. Currently in Abu Dhabi, in our region, we don't have yet penalties. We don't have incentives too. But it's a self-commitment we made, how we're gonna be more sustainable. But we're looking also for the legislation and the governments, how they can help. In Europe, there is subsidies provided for companies, for electrical vehicles, for infrastructure, how to transform. And there is penalty if you don't do. In the carbon credit, till now here, nobody can sell it or buy it. So we need to find out with the government how those questions could be answered and how we can have credit system working or scoring working like the ICV program, for example, how we can incentivize all companies to transform and start taking immediate steps, because there is massive capex has to be deployed to be able to transform. So with these kind of ships, each ship costs 3 times. But when it comes to climate change, it will help massively. We want to change. And if we want to change, we need to deploy resources, not as a company or a person or a government, it's all of us, even our personal behavior. I'm happy that one of my colleagues today come with electrical car, right? So it's a personal level. So we are at DSV, 75,000 people in the world having the same mindset. How we gonna reduce our emissions, how we gonna be sustainable, how we reach to our goal of having net zero in 2050. Thank you.